Good to see you. I think I've met you my first week in Congress. Phil, it's a pleasure. Admiral, I want to thank you, personal note of privilege, for you coming to my office and articulating in a very strong and comprehensive way where we are and where you want our great nuclear Navy to go. And for me, I want to say that I agree with your assessment and your vision. I want to thank the men and women of our great United States Navy, and we will support you. I will certainly work to support you with the funds needed to complete your mission, sir. Director Hagerty, thank you and congratulations. As Chairman Calvert just articulated, the margin for error in this sphere is zero. I represent Oak Ridge, Tennessee, birthplace of the Manhattan Project. Right now, we are under construction with the Uranium Processing Facility. I will say the men and women who have worked so hard at Y-12 have done a tremendous job under very adverse and older conditions. But UPF is now going well. It's been redesigned. Buildings are up. NNSA has done a great job. Our contractor has done a great job on site, and I thank you for all of that. I have a few questions. The Uranium Processing Facility project at Y-12 is a critical component of the NNSA strategy for modernizing the nuclear weapons complex and for continuing to meet the needs of our nuclear Navy. NNSA is committed to complete the UPF project by 2025 for cost not exceeding $6.5 billion. The administration has requested $703 million for UPF for fiscal year 2019. My first question, could you briefly describe whether the requested figure in the President's budget and the funding profile of the next few years are adequate to complete the work that needs to be done to advance UPF toward a successful completion by 2025, as NNSA has committed?
Thank you, Congressman Fleischmann. Let me assure you that with reliable and sustained funding, we will, our intent is to, and I'm confident to say that we will complete UPF within the budget, which is $6.5 billion, and by the end of 2025. So I always want to make sure that we capture all of 2025, and then it's not on January 1st, but we have through the end of 2025. I am confident that with reliable and sustained funding, we can get to that effort. As I'd mentioned in my statement, or in my opening comments, we've just completed 2 sub-projects, and we completed them 2 months ahead of schedule and $18 million under budget. So I think that's a welcome sign about the good work that we're doing at the field office as well as our contractor and support staff. So I agree with you, and I look forward to my first visit to Y-12. May I also ask if Mr. Calbos has anything else he'd like to respond with regard to UPF? Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. The only thing I would add to the Undersecretary's comment is that the success we are having in the uranium space at Y-12 is the result of a methodical process that we have instituted over the last several years. There are some folks that will note that we take a bit of time to get from idea to actual breaking ground, or in this case pouring concrete. But we've gotten there through a very methodical, rigorous process that includes, other parts of the Department of Energy, and we've learned from past efforts, and we're applying those lessons that we've applied to UPF to other parts of our portfolio. So there's a lot of goodness there.
Thank you, sir. The NNSA has established domestic uranium enrichment as one of its strategic material programs. Redeveloping a domestic uranium enrichment capability is critically important to our national security. Also of critical importance is to ensure that current uranium enrichment workforce skill and supply chain quality do not atrophy unnecessarily. Could you please describe the steps that NNSA is taking to ensure both that the nation's future enriched uranium needs are met and that the current capabilities of the industry in this country does not continue to erode?
We concur that we must reestablish a domestic uranium enrichment capability. We need to do so for our long-term tritium requirements. We believe that the planned path forward, assuming that it's fully funded, will provide us with the tritium needs necessary for our nuclear weapons stockpile requirements as a critical strategic material. Will provide us with that necessary capability through approximately 2040. However, as you may be aware, we have two centrifuge technologies under which we're considering at the present time. One is in more of a nascent stage right now, so we're developing the R&D on that. But yes, we are providing resources to ensure that we can look at the two different centrifuge technologies and make a determination. Mr. Kalbos might have some more to add, if I may.
Sir, I just want to take an opportunity to clarify something that's been in the that's often reported, that our strategy, as the administrator said, is, there's a two-pronged strategy. One is we're going to downblend uranium so that we can bridge to our own domestic production capability. There has been reports that we are downblending HEU that is reserved for naval reactors, and that is not correct. We are not using anything that's set aside for naval reactors, and I think, sir, you're good until 2060 based on current fleet size and everything. But in the more near term, the first requirement that we need to address is the tritium for the weapons, and we've got a two-pronged approach. One is downblend some highly enriched uranium that we've identified at the Y-12 complex, and then going forward, it gets to what Ms. Gordon-Hagerty said about developing our own domestic enrichment capability in the United States.
Thank you. And I would like to note for the record my strong support for a domestic uranium enrichment program to move forward in addition to the downblend. The downblend is a short-term or mid-term solution, but I think we need to address that as a nation. Mr. Chairman, I'll yield back.